Awesome, okay. So I'm so excited to be here this morning because I get to speak about leadership, which is what I love. And all of us in here have been in leadership positions. And by the end of this session, my goal is for us to refine how we present ourselves as leaders, to pick up some tools. You're going to definitely pick up some tools because there are some things that we do, but there are ways that we can do it better. We're going to pull on some research. We're going to pull on some interviews I've had with over 100 leaders. Most of them are in high-level positions in multi-million-dollar corporations. And we're going to talk about their successes and their challenges, but in a way where we're speaking about different leadership styles. Now, I'm going to need someone to just give me, I have to finish, I have 50 minutes, so if someone can just let me know when it's, yeah, thank you. So, effective leadership during the 3 C's. I've coined that, it's so easy to remember. Every leader experiences the 3 C's. Calm situations, change situations, and crisis situations. In a calm situation, that's when at your business, there's a period of rest. There's nothing new that's going on. You're in a stage of management. In change, it's a situation where there's a crisis, for example. There's a crisis or someone new is coming in, or you've just acquired a company. And in crisis, that's when something disastrous has happened. I worked for a corporation and a car drove through the building in the middle of COVID. That's a crisis. Or one of your rooms in your company begins to caught on fire and there's a domino effect, one room to the next to the next. That's crisis. The state has come in, you're doing something incorrect, they're shutting you down. You found out that your accountant was putting money on the side, didn't go into your budget. Crisis. The key takeaways today are going to be that we're going to analyze leader-team member relationships through the eyes of those who have experienced success in personal longevity, professional longevity. We're going to rethink the tools necessary for organizational success. We're going to rebrand your presence as a leader. We're going to talk about trust factor and integrity starting right now. By the time you leave, you're going to leave again with tools where you're going to make a change as a leader. And you're going to remold the opinion of your team, your clients, and your stakeholders have of your confidence to succeed and their willingness to follow. My voice is reverberating. Okay, so it's going to go through that. So some of the things, what we're going to do is that we're going to talk about different leadership styles. And I'm going to discuss it in the 3 C's, but it's leadership styles that can be that individuals have used in different situations. But through the interviews I've had, through the research that we've done, these particular leadership styles work best in the situations that I'm going to speak to them. Speak about them. Okay. So, as a leader, these are the things that you want to make sure that you are practicing, that you have knowledge about, that you're aware of. So, are you an emergent leader or are you an assigned leader? Knowing which one you are will make your leadership journey smoother. Assigned. Many individuals are assigned because should be of experience. Sometimes it's because of partnerships. It's because of friendships. It's because you can trust that individual. So it's a sign. And then there's emergent leader. Your emergent leader has skills that the team trusts. The team believes that this individual is able to take them to success. So that's your emergent leader. It's good to identify which one you are, if you're emergent or assigned, because in knowing which one you are, you can identify where you need to have growth, or where you need to celebrate what you already know, where you need to share the experiences you have. So emergent or assigned gets you to the position for success. Feminine and masculine leadership. This sometimes it's misinterpreted because we associate it, because it has a gender name, that it actually means feminine leadership, just women, masculine leadership, just men. But that's not actually the case. Feminine leadership means that you're taking on a leadership where you are motivating, where you are collaborating. Your focus, your priority is on relationships. Your priority is getting to know your team members, your staff, your employees. Masculine leadership is where you're direct, you're to the point. I mean, if we look at our relationships, men are to the point. You give them, you're at home, you ask your hubby, can you do such and such? He doesn't want the whole long story with it. He just wants to know, what do you want me to do? Yes. So that's an example, masculine leadership. You need both. You need a balance of both. In today's society, not like long ago, now the focus is on motivating your team. The approach is a team approach. The approach is you want to bring in some servant leadership. You want to have authentic leadership. And so you need a balance of both, because your team needs to know that you want to collaborate with them. You just don't want to direct them. Knowing this part, feminine and masculine leadership, establishes you for growth and success. Then there's your personal mission and vision. You are on a never-ending treadmill without these. What do you personally want to bring to your company? What do you want? What are your personal goals for yourself? In knowing what your personal goals are and your personal vision is, then you're able to align yourself with your company. You're able to align yourself with your supervisor, with your boss. Or you are the boss, you will learn how to align yourself with your team. Without knowing your personal mission and vision, you're going to be able to work miserable if you're in the wrong place, where you're not able to shine, where you're not able to bloom. Emotional intelligence, yes, emotional intelligence, EI. A team will not follow you without it, because you would have never gained their trust. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Knowing emotional intelligence gives longevity to your success. As a leader, one of the things that you want to make sure you do with your staff is say, John, Betty, Kim, I'd like to know what you believe you are good at. You want to make sure that you know the qualities, to make sure that you know where each of your team members and your employees shine. You want to find out from them. You don't want to just go by what you see. You want to go by what they feel. Because many times as a leader, what we do, we're coming into a situation with a purpose, we're focused, we're laser. And we don't always see the qualities that our staff has to give. So you want to make sure this is going to gain your trust with your employees. You want to make sure to ask them. The fact that you are taking the time to actually see them, that they know that way. They see me. They want to know what I have to contribute. That speaks volumes. That's going to increase trust. Good leaders can bring out 95% of employees' talents versus 31% of talents drawn out by bad leaders. A good leader asks that question. 95% of your employees' talents are going to come out using this question. 95%. I need 95% for my employees. What about you all? Okay, team members, this is what they're focused on. You think you know what they're focused on? Research shows this is what they're focused on. Trust. Do they trust you? Do they trust you have their back? Do they trust to follow you? Bias cognition. They may have bias cognition to you. You've come in, you have taken the place of someone else. They liked the other leader. Here you are, you've come in. You can be brilliant, you can know more than the other person, but they already have a relationship with that previous boss, with that previous employee. So they have some bias cognition towards forming a relationship with you. Or you, do you have bias cognition with them? Do they remind you of someone that you've seen on television or an experience you've had before, which was a negative experience? Bias cognition, your team is thinking about it more than you are thinking about it. Transparency on the visible. That means whatever is broken, whatever is happening in front of you with your team, you walk into the room, you walk in at your job, you walk into the project, you want to talk, you want to introduce them to something new with AI, that you are aware of the challenges that are occurring. They want to know that you see it. And that then if there's an issue that you speak about it. You don't just walk into this situation and pretend it's not there. They want transparency because transparency brings trust. I just want to say that there is a team, there's a trend that you're going to see, and it's trust. Confident credibility. Do you do what you say you're going to do? Are you who you present yourself to be? They want that as well. Emergent leaders, there's that word again, emergent leaders within the team. You want to identify who's the emergent leaders within the teams that you're working within the individuals that you're going to have a project with those that you're going to have a relationship, a business relationship with. You want to know who are the emergent leaders, because by knowing who the emergent leaders are, those are the individuals that you want to put at the forefront of the project. Those are the individuals that you want to put tasks into the hands of, because they already have the trust from the team. They already know what to do. They already know what's happening. Workplace culture, that all depends on the leader. We are the ones that make the workplace culture. How we are, our personality, how we interact with individuals, it trickles down. They look at you and they mirror what you do. They mirror how you interact with others. You interact a lot with others, they feel, okay, this is a safe environment. I'm going to interact as well. Invisibility. They don't want to be invisible. They want you to know who they are. Thus, you ask them the question that we just focused on before. And reward. Who does not like to be rewarded for doing a good job? When we're rewarded, we are motivated to do more. We're motivated to then assist the individual that rewarded us. Without these, you don't have teamwork. You have the individuals to do the teamwork, but not interested. You don't have full teamwork. This is the question that you want to ask your team members. What would the team like me to know? There are things that is happening in the project, in your job, that you are not aware of, that we are not aware of, and we're not going to know unless we ask. And it's not a negative for someone that leads to ask those that they're leading what's going on. It's actually a power move. It's a power move because you're showing collaboration, you're showing that you honor their opinion, you value them, and you're showing that you need them to get to success. It's a power move. 96% versus 15% of team members agree their leader is effective when cooperative relationships are frequently developed compared to when they are rarely or never. 96%. Leadership in calm situations. I just want to go back a bit. So it's calm, everything's going fine, things in order, you're establishing collaboration, synergy, we're all one. Calm situations. In the calm situations, you want to recognize skill sets. Who and to what degree? You want to know the skill sets of everyone that's involved in the project or your employees. You want to establish that when it's calm, because in crisis and chaos, you don't have time to do that. And in crisis and chaos, you're going to want to know the knowledge that you acquired here, knowing who has what skill sets and to what degree. By knowing what they know and to what degree, you then are able to give them resources to bring their skill sets up to where you want it to be. You are able to then put their skill sets in the direction that you want their skill sets to go. Emergent versus assigned leaders, we spoke about that again. This is when you want to identify who's your emergent, who's your assigned. Trust, absolutely trust, because in crisis and in change, you're going to use those trust relationships. This is what you want to establish as a leader during the calm situations. Now we're going to talk about servant leadership and situational leadership. Now again, these are not all the leadership styles that there are multiple, but these are the ones through research and through interviews have shown that these styles work best in this situation. At the end, the goal is that you choose which ones you are and which ones you want to elevate and which ones you want to choose, and then you make your own leadership toolkit. Because every leader needs to have a leadership toolkit. We're not just one leader, we're not just one style. We're multiple styles, but we have to know when to use each style in what situation. Servant leadership is when you are serving others. You are focused on motivating them. You're increasing their participation in work, in the project. First, you need to know everything about the company. Well, almost everything. You need to know enough to know what makes the company successful. So you have to conceptualize the operations of your company, of the project. So you want to know what's going on, when it's going on, at what time you're looking for a goal to be achieved. Then you're going to use emotional intelligence. You're going to interact with individuals, but you're going to interact with them in a way that does not build up biases. So I come to you and we're on a project and I need you because you're a stakeholder somewhere else, and I realize when I'm speaking to you, you don't have my attention at all. So as I'm speaking to you, I recognize, okay, this deal is not going to go through unless I break through whatever little barrier that I see that's occurring. By the way, he's really interactive with me here, which is helping. Thank you. But when we come about biases, it prevents us from achieving success. And so when we interact with other individuals, we need to be aware of their emotion. We need to be aware, are they listening to what we have to say? Are they annoyed when I went to reach out to shake their hands? Did they pull their hands away? Is there a reason they pull their hands away? Is it cultural? Is it they're tired? Is it I need to put a tic in my mouth? You know? We have to find out what is the challenge, because something has happened that has sparked a specific emotion. And when we identify that, we use it to an advantage. So servant leadership, we motivate. That's what we do. We motivate the individual into that part of the operations where we know they're going to do a really good job. Servant leadership, it's not about us. And we are solid and confident enough as leaders that it doesn't always have to be about us. It's about the team. Because when the team gets going, we go on with them. The team is much more than we are. So we want the larger number of individuals going in the direction that we want to go. We don't want to be pulling them along. There's going to be some resistance because it's different personalities. So in servant leadership, you're focusing on everyone else. You're focusing on motivating them to their potential. Situational leadership, like that. So you match the circumstances. Situational leadership means that you're a leader, that you're focusing on directives and subjectives. Okay. So, situational, you have a team. And you, during the calm situation, wants to know in your team, in those you're speaking to, who needs direction and who needs support. Situational is about identifying if you have to give direction or if you have to be supportive. Depending on the individuals you are relating, interacting with, leading with, you have to choose whether you coach them, whether you delegate things to them, whether you support them, or whether you direct them. So you've identified that the person that's in your team, they need a lot of direction and they need a lot of support. So you, at that particular stage, is going to go to my notes and make sure that I give you the right information. So they need, direction and they need support. So you're going to delegate. And when you delegate, you're going to make sure that you're not only giving them the direction on how to be successful, but you're also motivating them through to get to the end result. Then you have a team member that has high direction. They don't need to be directed, but they need support. So you support them. They know what they need to do, but they need some motivation to get there. They need to be reminded that they can actually achieve the goal. So you're being supportive. Now you have someone that has low direction, but they have high enough support. They can get the job done, but they just need to they just need to know how to get it done. And so those individuals you direct. And then there's the coaching. Coaching is when you need high direction and you need high support. Those individuals, they're new to the job and they're not quite sure where to go, and they have some hesitancy, they have some bias cognition. You need to coach them through. You need to support them and you need to give direction. In calm, you are identifying the part of your team members, the part your team members play in contributing to the mission. You have to know the mission, which happens in servant leadership. You are fostering inclusive collaboration. Yes, you want everyone to work as a team. You want everyone's input. Reflective observation. What do you see? What do you see that needs to be done to get this project to the end result? You're using reflective observation. You want it from everyone because everyone is coming with a different experience. You might have had an experience in a corporation that's large and you've gone through particular crises, and so you have certain skill sets that she does not have. And the team and the whole needs what you have learned. But I'm not going to know that. We're not going to learn that unless we all, as a collaborative event, do some reflective observation. We asked her, is there anything that's going on in the project that you see that you've experienced before? And she speaks about her experiences. And as a whole, everyone gets to the end result. And this is the end result of success. But this is good during calm because as we interact, we're having conversations. Conversations can best happen in calm situations. Biggest mistake of leaders. Number one, lack of intentionality in establishing trust. Trust again. Number two, assuming everyone is in the same situation. You might think we're all in calm, but your teammates are in a state of crisis. Or some of them are in a state of change. And so you want to figure out what are they experiencing, because what you implement in calm, they might not be focused because they are focused on crisis. There's something major happening in their department or at home, and it's influencing them, giving attention to you. So you want to know through conversation what is everyone experiencing. And in calm again, you are welcoming everyone to the team and you're talking about the mission. Leadership in change situations. Let's go back, did that too fast. So change, transition. Something's about to happen, something's happening. Oh, we're going in a different direction, change. Leader, here, is identifying the effects of the change to the team and workplace culture. You also want to do generative thinking. You want to establish and utilize trust, and you want to display confidence. When there's a change situation, eyes are on you. You have to come, you have to make decisions like you know what you're talking about, like you know what you're doing. Confidence. But you don't want to overstep and be confident in an area that you really don't know everything about. You want to have your confidence to match what you're assured of. So, in change, these are the leadership styles that have worked really well. Transformational, which is a change maker. You're bringing a vision. You're giving them a vision, and you want them to accept the vision. You're using sheer team leadership, where you're leading from within. You're allowing the team to lead. And then there's transactional leadership, where it depends on contingency rewards and also some management styles. So, transformational leadership. In transformational leadership, you're increasing their motivation to get the task done. Change. So change situation. Transition. There's a transition that's about to occur in your business. Or you're bringing in new, innovative AI things. Everything we learned about yesterday. You're bringing that in. That's a change situation. It's not calm and it's not a crisis. But you, as a leader, need everyone to come on board. You need to let them know that there's going to be some hills and there's going to be some valleys, but stick with me and we're going to implement this new technology that I just learned at the Innovation Summit at Hike 2. You want them to come on board. You want them to get the vision. So you're transformational. Shared leadership. Shared leadership is when you are allowing the team to be the ones to lead. So in shared leadership, the goal is effective performance and development. So while you are letting the team lead, you want to make sure that the approach that they take is not only going to increase their performance, but it's also going to make every member in the team grow. So you are going to lead and you're going to look at the influences on the inside that influence the team, the personalities of each other, the lack of them being able to support and being to collaborate. You're looking at the issues on the inside. And then you're looking also on the outside. Do they need resources to help them get to the goals that they want to achieve? Outside means, is there an issue with transportation that's probably going to affect the leadership? Is there something on the outside, for instance, do we need experts to come in? You as the leader of the team, you're going to look at the inside influencers and share the team leadership and the outside influencers, and you're the one to gauge, but you're going to let the team lead. And you're going to let the team lead because in change, the team collectively may know more than you yourself. They may have knowledge that you do not have enough of. And so you want to use that. You want to build on that collective experience and their collective knowledge. Share team. Then there's transactional. We've all done transactional or we have experienced transactional. You do this, and I give you a bonus. That's transactional. It's a contingency reward. It's not a bad thing because it gets you to success, but it could be bad if you are manipulative with it. Transactional. So, just the contingency reward, and reward is good because we looked at that before. Reward is a good thing. People like to be rewarded because it motivates them to get to the goal. But then there is the management by exception. And management by exception, which is part of transactional leadership, is where you use corrective criticism. So, okay, your team is doing one team member is going in this direction, but you need them to go in that direction. So you guide them, corrective criticism. But then there's also where you can use negative feedback and negative reinforcement. Now, negative feedback is you're doing this wrong. Negative reinforcement is you've been doing this wrong and I'm going to take you off the project. That seems harsh, but in a change situation, you sometimes don't have time to motivate them through, to coach them, to direct them, to support them as you did in the calm situation. In the change, it's action time. In the change, you need a goal done, you need it done in a quick space of time. So transactional works then because you can use some negative feedback because you're using that masculine leadership side in the sense of being direct. You don't have time to collaborate. You don't have time to form those relationships. It's action time here. In change, the leader wants to be transparent with frequent updates. You want everyone to know what's going on. You want everyone to know where they're at in the journey. It helps them focus. It helps you recognize if someone needs more motivation, if someone needs more support. Communication, absolutely. When there's a change, they want to know what's going on. They don't want to be blindsided. Just as you as a leader, you don't want to be blindsided. You want to know what's going on if your stakeholders are about to make a major change in your relationship. You want to know. In order to have success, there first needs to be an attitude change. You cannot have a behavior change in staff without an attitude change first. Research shows you have to change the mindset. Your mindset or those of your employees. Attitude. And then by changing the attitude, you change the behavior. And the behavior, when it's changed, brings success. So mind, then behavior, action, success. The biggest mistake of leaders in change is neglecting to identify and address comfort level and skill sets. In a change, you give one job to Bob, and Bob is not equipped. But you gave it to Bob, and you left Bob, and Bob is standing there. I have no idea how to complete this task, but I'm just going to go through the motions. And then when you come back, your success is delayed because you never checked Bob's skill set. Migration of the ant nest. When ants are moving from one location to the other, it is identified who's going to do what. Who's going to move with the queen. Her body is so large, she can't move on her own, so she needs support. So it's identified who's going to hold her, take her to the next location. In this migration, they're the guards. They are on lookout as the whole entire nest is moving. So they've identified already, because they're built for it, who's going to guard the path, who's going to carry the eggs, who's going to carry the food, who's going to carry the queen. And they get it done really fast. 2 days, which for them is fast. 2 days. And they get it done. And we can learn from them. You give the skills to those that are equipped with the skill set. But you're not going to know the skill set unless you took the time during the stage of calm to figure out who's good at what and where do you need to motivate. Leadership in crisis situations. That's a crisis for sure. Once I was at a facility, I was the corporate director, and we were in the middle of a state survey. So the state's there, and this time the feds were there as well. And this happens when you've had zero deficiency, and the states and the feds say, I don't think they got zero deficiency, so I'm going to now monitor the state. Now, you're already nervous when the state comes in, but when the feds come in with their uniforms, you're even more nervous. And so as I was at my laptop and we're going over, okay, this is what we need to do. These are the areas we need to check right now because the state and the feds are in the building. I see a woman passing by. She just came from smoking, which is not unusual. They get to smoke outside the building. And as she was passing by, I saw that her sweater was on fire. And she's just walking down the hall, and flames were coming off of her back. And I instantly thought, oh my, it's crisis. We need to get someone that's going to out her. But as I was saying that, guess what? The team already knew who had the skill sets. And as she was passing and I saw the flames passing by, I saw a staff member running behind her with a blanket that's made to prevent fire out in her. That was a crisis situation. But the employee who had the best skill set knew where to get the blanket, knew what to do, grabbed it, took it. Crisis situation was taken care of. That's a crisis situation that I always remember. Okay, in crisis, a leader leads the delegation. Decrease your delay. So you want to do it fast in a crisis. You don't want to stand there and think, I'm not sure what I want to do. You should know what you want to do because you've already been preparing during calm and during change. And you point to the end result. Your team is going to be looking at you. What do we do at this exact moment? You act. You act with what you have in front of you. You do not hesitate. When you look back on it, you might say, I should have acted better. I should have done something differently. But in the crisis, you don't have time to do that. You have to act quickly. Don't delay. That's going to build confidence. If you delay, you're not going to get confidence in your team. If you act quickly because they're waiting, they're looking for you to tell them what to do, you're going to build confidence. You limit public announcements. You don't say everything that's going on. You give it brief. This is what's happening with my company. This is what's happening with my team. Very brief. And then you relay whoever is asking the questions, the media, the stage, you relay them to the higher authority that's over the situation. Yes, you're the leader, but you don't have to give all the answers. You limit, because you're not quite sure what's happening in the midst of a crisis. In the midst of a crisis, your focus and getting to the end result, back to calm. Upscale your negotiation requests. You utilize all possible networks. Here at this summit, we're making networks, and we're focused on the type of networks that we want to make. In crisis, this is what we use. The networks, the interaction, the relationships that we're building here. We're going to use them here. And we are going to boldly upscale our negotiation requests. We're not going to politely ask. We're going to say, I'm in a crisis. This is what I need. You're going to be decisive. You don't have the time to now smooch with everyone. You have the time to say, I met you here at the summit. This is what's happening. This is what I want you to do. Are you going to be able to do it? I want it by tomorrow. You're direct. You're bold with your negotiations during a crisis. In crisis situation, these leadership styles have worked the best. The adaptive style, which is follow me, the authoritative or autocratic style, we've seen this. And the leader or member exchange style, member relationship strengths. So the adaptive style. The adaptive style, which is follow me, is where in a crisis, you are taking the time briefly to first identify what's the challenge that's occurring in the crisis. So you're focused on the situational challenge. This is happening, and you want to identify what the challenges are, because that's how you know who you're going to pull on for your network. You identify, and then you take a bird's eye view. So now after you have identified the challenges, what you want to do, what we want to do, is now say, okay, I need to make sure that I know who's doing what, who needs to be motivated. So we choose now what leadership style we want to use. In choosing the leadership style, before it, we do a bird's eye view, again, of the situation. Then once we've done a bird's eye view, we take everyone that we think is going to be utilized to get to the end result, and we're going to put them in something called a holding room. And a holding room or a holding pattern is just where you go somewhere and you collaborate. It can be a physical place, or it can be somewhere where you're doing it via a conference call, or conversations, or texts. But in adaptive leadership, bird's eye view, what's going on, you identify the situational challenges, you go in a holding room. After the holding room, you come out with a path, you come out with plans of action, you come out with solutions. Adaptive leadership. Then there's the autocratic, the authoritative leadership, which is basically exactly what it says. Do as I say. In a crisis, this works best, just do as I say. Oh, you're giving me the time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So you're telling them what to do. That's it. You're being autocratic, and it works here in crisis. You don't want to be autocratic though when it's calm or when in change, because you're not going to have a team that trusts you. You might think I'm the boss and I can tell them what to do. I make the big bucks here. They have a job because of me. Their salaries because of the things that I do. I don't have to interact with them. You're not going to have a team. You're going to have employees, but you're not going to have a team. You're not going to have people that follow you. Autocratic only works best in crisis. Leader-member exchange. Leader-member exchange means that in this situation, you are basing your interactions on the dyadic relationships that you have with your team. That just means the relationship that I have with him, I've identified, is it a strong relationship? Can I give him something to do in a crisis, and he's going to do it because we already have a relationship, because he already trusts what I'm going to do. Is he going to help me as a stakeholder, as an outside resource person? Because of the relationship we have, we're going to be able to lean on that in a crisis because we already have that trust. We already have that relationship. Leader-member exchange. This is based on the relationships that you have between the leader and the relationship between the member. This works best here because in this leadership style, does not always work properly because some leaders have better relationships with other employees. Not every leader is going to have the same type of strong relationship. But here is where you use the strength of each relationship. In crisis, the leader, here's what you want to do. Make the best possible decisions with the information available. Be the leader. It equals to their confidence in you. Divide dependent on skill sets. We talked about that. This leads to instinctual collaboration. You give the task to those individuals that know what they're going to do. They're going to collaborate. Listen, and listen again. This equals maintaining trust and support. You listen, there's a crisis, they come to you. This is what's happening, A, B, C, D, okay. This is what's happening, A, B, C, D, okay. We're going to go into the holding room, we're going to do a huddle. This is the solution that we're going to come out with. It maintains trust and support. The biggest mistake a leader can make is neglecting to pause, analyze, continue, or innovate, and start again. In a crisis, the biggest mistake a leader can make is not pausing and identifying what's going on. And then you decide, do we continue in the plan of action that we have in place, or do we pivot and we change and we implement something new? Do we start again? It's okay to start again in a crisis, but it depends on the speed. Depends on speed. What you're doing, how you're doing, when you're doing it, the speed that you're doing it with. Developing your leadership toolkit. I have 4 minutes. Choosing your content. Create a toolkit to match your mission and your journey. The mission and journey of your business. Does everybody know the mission and journey of your business? Is it in your logo? Is it in the things you speak about? For this summit, it was everywhere. It's innovation. It was everywhere. We knew what the mission was. So you create your toolkit depending on the leadership skills that we spoke about, and there are others as well, but we focused on major ones that research has shown that's what leaders tend to use in these situations. You perfect the tools before you need to use them. That's right. In calm, you perfect your leadership tools. Create trust, and more trust. We talked about the theme. Trust gets you to the end result. Your goal, our goal, is to create other leaders of varying magnitudes. That's our goal as a leader. We want other little leaders in our team, in our project. We are more successful with multiple leaders being involved. Mastering the 3 C's. 95.8% of direct followers become more engaged with their leaders when they follow through on their actions. 4.2 without engagement. 3% of team members rate their leaders as effective because they seldom 3% of team members rated their leaders as effective because they seldom speak with conviction about the purpose of their work. Okay, so only 3%. 53% agreed that their leader was effective when they spoke more with conviction about the purpose of their job. You build psychological hardiness in 97% of your team versus 19% when you celebrate the little wins. The little wins. Bring in donuts, bring in whatever you see that we're giving here, do that. You reward, you take them out to dinner. You just at least praise them in public. You do a reward to them. It pays out. 74% of employees will almost always trust their leaders when they witness them follow through on promises and commitments. 94% of your team will work harder when you frequently challenge them to try new and innovative ways to complete their work. You want to make sure that you implement this. You want to find out who has what skills, and you release them and let them grow, let them innovate, let them come up with the solutions to the problems in your project. Only 5% will work harder with authoritative leaders. 75% of teams increase their trust in their leader when the leader's confidence in the team members' performance is expressed. When leaders avoid taking the initiative, crisis, you gotta move. Only 50% of their employees think they are effective. They're thinking, oh, they want the money that they're making. Shadow leadership is a leading obstacle to establishing trust, avoiding costly turnovers, and creating operational success. Shadow leadership, be authentic, be honest, be transparent. 80.2% of outgoing executives leave voluntarily. 80.2. The job was too hard. The project, I don't want to deal with these individuals. 80.2% of outgoing executives leave voluntarily. The main thing is that they leave. 39.5% report staff voluntarily leaving, and 59.1% of boards appear to stumble in covering normal operations during leadership transitions. There is this story, the story of the fabulous flamingo. A flamingo, when they're born, they're white. And it's what they take in, what they eat. The algae, the shrimp, that gives them the color. Your team, when they come to you at your project, they're bare. They have no color. They have no qualities of success. They have no guidance on what to do. And it's only by what you give to them, the resources that you give to them, that they begin to shine, that they take on the character, the color of what you are giving to them. And then there are sometimes when there are those that have so much of what you've given to them, that they, not only what you give them, but they're born. They're that emergent leader. They shine. They have the qualities much more than those that you have given resources to. Those are the ones you want to use. Thank you.